read the poem. M. It's not very long. As you listen to the words and what is being said. Okay, go ahead.
Our seabird.
Well, how do you start something? Do you read what first? The title.
Aloft.
Aloft.
Aloft. Our seabird is the truest ship. He floats on the skies with feathery sails and the light mealbone. His tail as a rudder, friends with the wind. He perches in port, as swift as a thread. He carries the ocean's song.
All right. First of all, what is this poem about? What is being spoken of? A rabbit? A cat?
No.
A dog? The ocean? A boat? If you look at the picture, what is this a picture of? We see these even around here, which I find crazy. What kind of bird is this? She calls it a seabird, but we have them around here too, Jeremiah. A seagull. I am always perplexed when I am at a big area, all concrete, and there's seagulls flying around. I'm like, why? Why aren't you by the ocean? Come on, dude. I'd much rather be on the ocean than at the parking ramp at Westtown Mall. But we do have them around here. A lot of them are on the lakes, which is nice. That's where I would be if I were a seagull on the water. So friends, what is the main idea of this poem? The author, Miranda Sun, what is she, we do know it's about a bird. What is she, or how does she describe our bird? How does she describe it or compare it to? Olivia.
Like a ship.
A ship. In fact, the first sentence, our seabird is the truest ship. Is a seagull really a ship?
No.
That is a metaphor, friends. She is describing the seabird or seagull as a ship. So what evidence besides the first sentence shows that the author is describing the bird as a ship? What other words are used? Go through and circle any word that has anything to do with a ship, and then we will discuss it. What is one example of the author describing the seagull or bird as a ship? Cole.
With feathery sails.
With feathery sails. Very good. What else? Grant. Has a rudder. Do birds have rudders?
No. No.
No. Kind of acts as one though. I mean, it can kind of help it steer, but it's not called a rudder. What else? Ella. Right. Now, a current technically is not a ship description, but what would you say is a current, or what would you say it's describing that a ship would be on? Where would you find a current? In the desert? In the ocean. So that technically is not a ship terminology, but you know what? A ship is on the ocean, so it does have a current. And that is where our bird is as well. So very good. And then he carries the ocean song. I like that. So is there any, there's one that we have forgotten. James. Floats. That is one. And then there's another one. I don't know, maybe you don't know what that is, but when Sheen.
The
Churches and port, yep, we said that. That a port is where a ship docks. Jonathan. Carries, well, a boat carries, yes. I will give you that. What, M? Huh? I think you said it. A keel. A keel is part of the boat, a part of the ship. It's part of what steers the ship. Now, it's not what a bird does not have a keel, but it says, and a light keel bone helps it steer. All right, very good. So our bird is being described as a ship, which is a metaphor. A bird is not a ship, but in this poem it's being described as such. So that, friends, is the metaphor. What is an example of the author suggesting that the seabird is a graceful animal? What is evidence that the author is describing the bird as graceful? There are particular little words that describe something else. Emmy. He what?
He carries the ocean.
Yes. He carries the ocean song. I love that. What else is an example of him, the bird being described as graceful? Olivia.
He's as swift as a current.
As swift as a current. That would be also, he's fast, but graceful. Cole.
Friends with the wind.
Friends with the wind. M.
He floats on the sky.
He floats. What else? Something about sails that makes you think of something light and graceful. Grayson.
Feathery sail.
Feathery sails. When you see a feather floating down from the sky, it just kind of floats gracefully down. So yes, feathery sails is definitely. So now, what is the examples? There are two examples of similes. Now remember, a simile, so both a metaphor and a simile describe something as something else. And in this case, we know that the bird is being compared to what? Ella? A ship. So that is the metaphor. Our seabird is the truest ship. So the difference, though, a simile, remember, we've talked about, uses the words like or as to describe something. So if you look at this poem, where would you find your two similes? Give me the two examples of similes. It's something that's being compared to something else using the word like or as to show the comparison. McKenna.
As swift as a current.
As swift as a current. Very good. And there is one more. Jonathan. Its tail as a rudder. Very good. Very, very good. Who has ever seen a seagull playing on the ocean? I think that this is a very, very good description of what you see. They're always flying around, floating, making noises, they're following things, and they're always looking for what? Emmy. Food. They like their food, like people in this room. All right, so what is the main idea of this poem? What would you say is the main idea of this poem? What is the author? This should be easy. What do you think the author is telling us? What is she trying to get across to us as the reader? Owen. How a bird is like what? Right, it describes a bird, but what is she specifically describing? In the poem, the seabird is like a what? Owen. Yes. Now a seabird or a seagull is nothing like a ship. But, I mean, I see, it's so funny. They're out there on the pond right now, floating around. There are a bunch of seagulls. It's like they came on call. See them? They're white birds out there floating around. See how they float up and down on the wind? They're very great. Thank you, seagulls. It's like they came to show us exactly what we were talking about. I love that. That's pretty awesome. But you see how they float. They are very graceful. See how they are up and down, and they're very graceful. The winds kind of take them. They're on their feathery sails. But yet as they're floating, they have complete control over their bodies. Well, thank you for that show, and now they're leaving. That was crazy. I think that was a God moment, friends. Thank you, God. That is very cool. They're gone. There's one out there. I guess there's a couple out there. Yeah, there's some. They're back. Oh, no, they're back. That was pretty awesome. They like came on cue. I love that. That was fun. All right, so now I would like for you to get out Charlotte's Web. So at this point in time, now, Cadence, we are right on track after reading today with you. We're on the same page. So what I would like for you to do today, and Jack as well, is read 3-4 pages at least, and then you'll keep up with us, all right?